right? So in this video, my bad, I guess I gotta roll a blunt for the video. My bad. We're gonna multitask here. Now, for this video, right? We're looking at SPY, okay? Obviously, as you can tell from the title of this video, we're comparing the difference between using Goldbach levels on futures or forex, which is kind of like the same type of vibe. It moves very, very quickly, right? Market is open a lot longer than the stock market. So there's obviously that much more that we can accomplish per day, per week, whatever. In terms of what I mean with the Goldbach levels, not in our trading. We could do just plenty, honestly, between 9:30 and 4 o'clock. So my thing is when you're looking at stocks, okay, or the fan favorite is obviously SPY. We love trading SPY. It's been a lot of fun for years. But realistically, what I want you guys to understand is that same thing I talk about with like understanding your market environment or being in control of your trading all the way or being intentional with your trading style. Okay. Like the whole point is, the whole point is that when you come into the marketplace, any marketplace, and that could be um, something as high volume like SPY or like a Nvidia or Apple, okay? These are some of the ones that where we obviously know that has a lot of volume, clearly Tesla, um, a lot of volume in the marketplace. So these are the ones that are going to move a lot per day, per week. Also thinking about Meta, they move a lot per day, per week, per month. The reason why I'm talking about it like that, right, is because in our perspective, yes, we could look at like these same dealing ranges on different assets, and it's easy to get confused at first when you're studying these that, okay, you know what? Wow, I should just expect X to just move as quickly as the last asset that I traded. So if you're used to trading NQ and you're obviously used to trading SPY too, or if you trade SPY at all, the hours are different in the marketplace, so we're going to operate slightly different, but that's why I'm on a weekly chart. I wanted to show you that you can really come in and do some incredible stuff with for NASDAQ or NQ, the 81 will be a blip. It runs through, like I said, these 81s and 27s and even 243s like water. 729 ends up being like a really nice wireframe that takes maybe a day to, up to a week on NASDAQ. But 2187 and beyond, I mean, obviously NASDAQ can smash. But when we're looking at like a 81 power of 3 on SPY, right? And this is what I mean about the numbers and why these are important. Markets move $3, $9, $27, $81 at a time when we're trending, right? So that's why we are hyped on these. And again, you have all the prices literally outlined, right? The low has a certain number, 549, 552. It's literally $3. Come on. Use your brain, right? So 46, 567, that's $81. So coming in here, right? You notice I'm on a weekly chart. Looks like a 5-minute chart. This is crazy, right? Well, not really, since again we talk about this all the time, right? I sound like a repeating record, and I will on purpose until you understand this. Marketplace is fractal. Man, I'm such an asshole. But realistically, right, when we're looking at all of these, obviously the weekly chart is a lengthy amount of time per candle per whatever. And so I'm just going to slightly annotate this, right, with I need a definitive starting and stopping point. Now, this is interesting. And it's funny when somebody asks me like, yo, like, how do you do all these videos like this? And I was like, what do you mean? And they're like, dude, like the the content is really good, and I appreciate that. I really appreciate everybody watching my videos. And someone else told me that like, yo, like the level that you can get it out at this speed is crazy. I was like, well, workaholic mentality, bro. I have a Kobe mentality towards trading. And I mean, I've always been like a slight workaholic depending on what I'm doing. But me personally, I love skateboarding. I love obviously smoking blunts. But in my free time, right, like I play video games. Trading was right up my alley, right? I play a lot of Tony Hawk. I play a lot of like games that need me to be quick on my hands like Call of Duty, right? So when I'm in the marketplace, I treat it the same way. And forgive me, I'm like using my hands right now, obviously, right? So the emphasis though is still on this side of the screen. Ready? When we have this candle down here, that's January 2nd. My whole point to showing you this, right, is you can use your dealing range for more than just a few minutes, a few days, or a week. It applies to long-term trading as well. Applies to other markets. I'm showing you how to be creative with the concept. Especially as you're studying, go study other markets with this. See how it gets used, how prices influenced by these levels. And shout out to Aircam and shout out to Hoppy and ICT again, obviously, because we talk about all these great things and day, right? Because we do day theory. Um, these are some of the people that I look up to, especially like in my not in just my trading, but um when we break down like why the market does what it does, I really appreciate that because I never got comfortable with just like accepting certain information. I want to come in and understand why. And so with your dealing range, we understand the math. It's doing 3 times 3, 9 times 3, 27 times 3 to plot your dealing range to then give you a clear high low equilibrium. And it's always based on current price. That's why we're able to get these numbers, especially the high, before we even get there. It's all based on math. It's all predetermined. Every market. So when you're looking at this, and this is my whole point I've been saying for 10 videos, lower your dealing range. When you step into it like this takes months to damn near fill in, and we didn't even touch the top yet. We hit the rejection block, but we didn't even get the top of the dealing range yet. Not yet. You have a little gap here, right? Outside of that, you knew about this price when you were down in this dealing range back in January, in February. You knew. If we came up, broke this in February, you would have seen that. When we ran up like this and created the buy side liquidity, right? You know that the major next level here is your EQ on your 81. But do you see how long it takes to get up here? You can stay in your position, take partials to EQ because you know it's going to react. If you don't get there and you fly all the way back to your fair value level or your whatever, you're aware of this. This takes long as shit. So you can come down here on a lower time frame and run this if you need to. But what I'm saying is on the macro side, you're keeping track of price with your dealing range. And again, the 81 is so small compared to NASDAQ, but it's big on SPY. You can come in here for weeks at a time and run it. Does that make sense? That's why that's important like that. So when you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 plus candles in the same direction, causing power of 3 liquidity by having a failure to touch your EQ, back down to fair value. What did we just talk about? Liquidity void levels. You feel me? It's no different. Weekly chart. You can position trade this way. You know where the pyramid, if you know where the pyramid, add to your position. You know the buy side liquidity that failed to reach this EQ is going to get there. And when it does, look at it. It smashes it. And you consolidate on EQ, how we talked about, goes to your rejection block. And again, you have a low rejection block. That's fine. And it goes down. It leaves this high open. We know that's going to get attacked later. It does not have to be now. That's fine. But the whole point is you knew about where these points of interest are beforehand. You don't have to be confused on where price is going all the time. Imagine knowing where price is going to go for weeks, months, years at a time. I'm telling you, that's exactly what we're doing here. That's why I'm so excited to give you some of this content, because it's not just fun, but it gets you in a certain direction where you're like, listen, you know what, bro? Even if price, and look at the dollar amount. If this is $81 on SPY, people get hyped for like a $2 run on SPY, bro. $2, a $2 to $5 move, or even that rare $10 move you'd like to catch, that $12 move you'd like to catch on SPY. Let SPY go from 490 to 500. You're celebrating. It's a lot of money. What that contract is worth is a lot from A to B. But imagine you have something that, you're not even saying you're trying to be far out on purpose, but look at how price interacts with this 81. If you know that's the terminus, you're going to stay on buys for days, weeks at a time. You can adjust it when you need to, or whatever. Take partials, do your thing, and get back in. You know that's the terminus. Even if you get it to the rejection block, this is a life-changing money, man. Take 1 year and trade 181. Life-changing money. That's January in pink, right? And we are halfway through the year. This is December here, right? And look, there's not that much time left in the year. The partitions is damn near closed already. Is it going to go all the way back down here? No. Is it going to complete this high? Yes. How do we know? It never reached the top. This was filled in already months ago. Even with all this run down, it couldn't get back down here. Even with all the stuff happening with NVIDIA and all the bad news we have in um, the market these days, it fails to touch 81 low. Now watch this for context. Let's bring it down a little bit. Watch. You can even do it like this, like we talked about, because price is fractal. And are we surprised? No, we're not. Price makes that massive retracement and lands where? This is why you switch your dealing range. You look at it from one or two of them that are close to each other. Or look at them all. Study the chart. Study the price. You're not surprised when price starts to go through this 27 the way it does, with 1, 2, 3, and ultimately the last candle, obviously closes blue, but it's a bearish candle, obviously, right? It takes the low of that 27 and in 2 weeks goes all the way back. That's interesting. Again, you understand how to run this. You're not confused on why it goes up, down, up again, down, why it stopped here to go up again. You can see these levels when price is printing. Now watch. Let's do something fun. And I really wanted you to see that, you know. But again, just so we're building upon our repetition, right? Liquidity void level. And what is that? Right from the 27 liquidity void. Fair value gap. In your fair value gap. Oh, hold on. You think I was going to skip right past that? Nope. This is my favorite shit. I'm trying to tell you. It's no different. Why do you think this is so powerful? Yeah, you got a little gap there, but I don't care. Fair value and fair value. We come down, liquidity void, fair value gap combo. What do you expect? Massive run for weeks. Massive run. And you're right there on time for it, on point for it. You're not going to get all this insane drawdown. You're not. Your understanding of what the price is doing. It slightly went to a premium, back to a discount. Discount fair value gap. And you run higher than the 27 high into a dealing range above you. And it comes crashing down as a way different objective. Does that make sense? And here we go. And again, still using my hands, right? So watch this. Let's look at Apple. I'll show you the same thing. Now watch. And the emphasis, though, I want to be clear on this. The emphasis is the time that we could use in one dealing range. You see how the 81 supported SPY for basically the better half of the entire year, right? And so this is what I mean. I'm in December 23, and here we go. January, that's again why I'm highlighting January. And same thing with Apple. Like I said, I named these just to begin, only because these move at like a similar pace, a similar speed. You can take an 81 dealing range and murk this thing. You see what I mean? You understand where you need to do most of your buying, or if price is not done yet. Let's narrate. In this area, as you can see it, right? Now, I'm going to highlight this January 2nd differently so it's not in the way, right? I'm going to highlight like this, all right? I do this a lot, actually, because I dislike when things go through my candles unnecessarily. That's just my OCD talking, right? All right, now watch. Do you see how this is again, January 2nd, first of the year, first trading day of the year? Got it. Now, when we pop down, right? Now, people get confused here. We already completed the dealing range. So when you see how price comes down after January, all this, right? Little gap here, we fill it in, and then we drop down. This doesn't have to complete. We already did it already. We completed this already. And again, just so you can see it, right? Cool. We already completed this dealing range all the way here to here. So it creates buy side liquidity. Again, in a discount, doesn't even reach a premium. That's a problem. So the next time we go up, doesn't touch it again, PO3 liquidity. PO3 liquidity all the way in here. Then when you drop down, it's only going to go into that order block, that rejection block. Maybe the low EXT level, maybe. But if we've already touched it here, I'm not expecting this, or I'm not surprised, rather, I'll say it like that we hit a order block and run liquidity no problem. It's no different. Every single asset you looked at uses the same concepts. It's no different. Order block. Where's it found? In my order block level. White candle here. So you understand what I'm talking about. White candle here gets taken by this blue one. right? It runs up like this, creates P3 liquidity so you can aim at later. And again, bro, years and years of studying. That's how I'm so quick with it. Do not get discouraged if you can't see this stuff this quickly. Do not get discouraged, right? Now, down here, you have another one too. Order block, another order block. Oh, well, why does this order block suck if this is such a algorithmically perfect order block? Because you have another one to the left of you. Come on now, be creative. All right? I love when people give me some of those, like, hey man, well, like, if this works so perfectly, why does this not work? And you're like, well, I mean, if you're looking at a structure that typically works in New York and you're looking for it at Asia and you don't see a perfect optimal trade entry, I mean, New York style, I'm guarantee you it's not going to work the way you think it is. I feel like that's kind of weird. So, like, realistically, right? We talk about all these concepts and you have to be creative. And again, it takes practice. Understanding, like I'm talking about, the dealing range already being filled in on the bottom. Talked about the dual order blocks. Talked about PO3 liquidity offered to you before you hit a premium. We also talked about liquidity void levels and what they do and how they look. Large, insane candles, and they form large, insane runs. And you see how equilibrium gives us a hard time a lot of times. It'll get back down there, I'm telling you. Do not get scared when it gets back down to equilibrium. I mean, obviously, if you're in this much profit from down here, you might want to take something off the table. Especially if you get like a easy to see like bearish run. And you know this is the next major level, so when it's like reaching down like this, you're not just going to be like, oh well, let me just hold for the high and ignore it. No, it's likely to, if not right now, go here, to go back down here one more time before it runs up. Obviously, right? It's the same structure as SPY, almost, but I want you to get comfortable with it. Now watch this, okay? Now I'm gonna show you something different. You know what's funny? I love DraftKings. I love DraftKings. And like I don't gamble at all. That's the funny part. When I say I love DraftKings, this is like one of the first stocks that I made a lot of money on. This is one of the first ones I got comfortable trading. The contract prices weren't like super intense for me at the time. So this was like really, really good for me. So I'm 32. I've been trading for a very long time. But this was one of the first ones I got comfortable trading a couple years ago. And so when I see stuff like this, I mean, this is such a great narrative. And like I said, it's a lot smaller than a Apple, a Tesla, a SPY, Nvidia, right? So the same way that I'm popping on and I'm talking about like length of time that it's using to complete a dealing range or not. And look at this. This is, I mean, amazing. Obviously, we have all the consolidation on the low back in the July of 2023. So that was straight up a year ago. This was straight up a year ago. You know what I mean? So when you're looking at it like this, you're like, damn, we jumped in here last July. Actually, on my birthday. That's kind of crazy. July 10th, my birthday. So when you're looking at like a run like this, failure to break this low downward, you're bullish, obviously. And the low being actually $27. When we talk about time and price, that's why this is also very cool. Stocks play right off these, easy to use numbers. There's not so many numbers past the decimal. When you look at like a Euro USD or a GU or GJ or all these numbers that have a lot of numbers past the decimal, that's why it's so wiki every 5 minutes. It's referencing time and price in so many fractal ways. Remember, I always give you a gem. Every time we talk, I always give you a different gem, okay? Now watch. We hit the low of the dealing range, can't break it. Cool, we're bullish. PO3 liquidity. Got it. PO3 liquidity. Okay. EQ. Finally, we take it. Same thing here. Now we know these dealing ranges are going to complete at some point. Because look, the lows here, the low of the 27 is literally 27. The low of the 81 is 81. Or actually 0. My bad. It's not going anywhere else. This is the lowest you're going to see DraftKings pretty much for a while. Until it breaks this thing with authority, downside, and holds this low and becomes a high, the indicator shifts down. Nah, you might want to start looking for buys on DraftKings. Just my personal opinion on that one. But this is what I mean. You have to be understanding of the objective. And look at this. Same thing I talked about. Fair value. Where do we stop? Fair value. Order block. White candle gets taken by this huge one here. You make the fair value gap with this one, but you also rebalance an old order block. Do you feel what I'm saying? Get comfortable with this. PD arrays are found in the right spot. Stocks, crypto, forex, futures. I don't care if you're trading some shitcoin somewhere. It's going to run the same logic. And you see how reactive the points are. Do you see what I mean? Now watch. Let's do one more fire example. Okay. Let's come down to I want an interesting one. So I like what, Meta maybe? Yeah, let's do Meta. I'll show you something real quick. Now, Meta obviously was crazy. All right. There you go. Look at that thing. So do you see how that's our 243? But this is the thing. When I put on my vertical lines, right, and I show you time, watch this. So we're gonna do, obviously this is now, and I want the same thing we looked at. I want January 2nd. So that's cool, and we're gonna lock that. I also want a little further back. I want, this is like that 2022 crash we had. But I mean, in reality, I mean, we could do August. That's a little far back. June. I want July. I really want. Yeah, that's fine here. January 23. That's fine. We can do that. Yep. We're going to lock that too. The reason why is because I wanted the price action in between here. I wanted to see like where it came from, or like what time rather. Obviously, you see we completed this partition, but this is my thing here. Okay. Look at this. You step into a new dealing range here. All right, we're going to zoom in. I just wanted you to see this as a whole before I did. Okay. And look, we can even, I mean, have some fun with it. I mean, look. Monthly chart, if you need the monthly chart. Looks more definitive, right? And look at this. On your monthly chart, no different. What is that? You've been watching my videos. You understand what I'm going to show you. Fair value. What does it do? And again, kindergarten type concepts. Come on now. Liquidity boy. right up. What's difficult about that? Where's liquidity? Here. How do we know? Failure to touch the EQ right when it stops here and goes back down. Creates power to liquidity. We know it needs to get back up here. Same thing here. Power to liquidity. Failed to touch this level with that price swing. Simple, man. You can come here and dominate this thing. I guarantee you, all who watch this channel, you're going to have some money in the next couple years, man. Might even be in the next couple days, might even be the next couple weeks. All because you decided to sit down and click on the right YouTube channel. Incredible, isn't it? And I'm just nobody. I'm just some YouTuber. That's interesting. Finally done working with my hands, almost. I'm still not done yet. I mean, I didn't roll just one, I rolled two, just cause, right? And that's the thing. I like to smoke backwoods, and I trade all day. And so, this is why this is important. You understand, like I said before, just to close this out, you understand where the dealing range low is. You understand what determinants is. It's telling you completely. It does the math for you so you could trade and do your thing. You need to come in with the right logic and play your cards right. However you like to trade, whether it's day trading, trade upwards every single day in this bitch until you get here. I don't want to hear an excuse I'm not a swing trader. Okay, then don't swing trade. If you are a swing trader, this is great news for you. Position traders too. Oh man. Go nuts. Do your thing. Right? You don't have to be confused about what the marketplace is doing at any time. You really don't. Don't let anyone else tell you differently. Trading is not random. It's all about having the right information, which most people don't have, unfortunately. But that's why it's my job, right? So, until next time, hopefully this was a good lecture and you learned halfway something. Man, that sucked.